Okay, now some of you did comment to me this little drawn out long process. Well, today I'm going to make it a little short so you can just focus on a few things to get the two answers. So x to the second, there's two answers. There's also an x not to the second, so set boxes. It was set, so I make the three terms, GCF t. GCF's 1. 9 times negative 4 is negative 36, so minus to 7, but the two factors don't exist. You can't find them, so you have to use the quadratic formula. Opposite of b, e opposite of b, e plus or minus d squared root, b squared minus 4ac, b squared minus 4ac over 2a, over 2a. Now, first thing what I want you to write is a equals b equals c equals. A is 9. B is negative 7, and C is negative 4. Okay, so remember that. So I eliminate all the variables, opposite of B. So B is negative 7, but it's the opposite of negative 7, so I switch it to a positive 7. Okay. Now the B here is not the opposite, it is negative 7. Okay, and then I got 4a, a is 9, so replace your a with 9, just scribble it out and put 9. C is negative 4, scribble it out, put negative 4. And then a is 9. So the only thing that's opposite, the only time I switch number to opposites right there. Okay, so 2 times 9 is 18, so I cross that out and just put 18. Now I got to figure out the square root. So I double my parentheses at the beginning. There should be 2 of them right in a row. So I go second and I go 4 keys up. And then I need 2 parentheses and I have a negative 7. Close the parentheses and we have to raise that one to the second power. You do that by just tapping the x to the second key. Minus a parentheses 4. A parentheses 9, and a parentheses negative 4. Okay, I got 13.89, so I cross out this mammoth square root and put 13.89. Okay, now I've got my 7, my plus minus, 13.89, and my 18. So now I punch in 7, just 7. You can't do a plus 7, okay, it won't do it. You just if it's positive, you just punch in 7. Plus 13.89, then hit equals, and then divide by that number on the bottom, 18, just like I did. 1.16 is the first answer for x. And then I cross out the plus sign, that's done, okay? And then I take positive 7, so just 7 if it's positive, and then subtract 13.89. Hit equals, then divide by the number on bottom, which is 18. So negative 0.38. Okay, now my next answer, problem. There's 2 answers. You also have this x not to the second on that 4. So the set boxes, we were set, okay? There were 3 terms, okay? The GCF is 1, okay, so I didn't do it. And then I take 9 times negative 16, negative 225. First off, I ain't doing a factor list with a number that big, and you can't find it anyway. It fails. So I use my quadratic formula. That's what this is called. It has a name. It's not just the song. It's the quadratic formula. So A is 9. Don't put x with the 9, just the number. B is positive 4, and C is negative 16. Remember, a minus means it's negative. So the opposite of B, okay, we get rid of that. Now B is 4, it's positive 4. So if it's positive like that with no negative, I put a negative there, and it goes opposite. Then the B here, that gets replaced with 4. And we have a 4 here. And then the A gets replaced with 9. That's a 9. And then the C gets replaced with negative 16. Okay, and then the A down here, A is 9. Okay, 2 times 9 is 18 again. So now I got to figure out my square root. I double the parentheses at the beginning. And I go second and then 4 keys up, makes a square root. Then I need 2 parentheses and then 4 to the second. Okay, and the second is just tap that key right there. And then minus, subtraction, and then a parentheses 4, a parentheses 9, and a parentheses negative 16. Okay, I got 24.33. Okay, so then I see the 3 numbers I have left here, the plus minus 24.33 and divided by 18. So I go negative 4 plus 24.33, hit equals, and then divide by that number on bottom, 18. 1.12. Then I cross out my plus sign because I just did that. Now I do the minus operation. So I go negative 4 minus 24.33 and then divide by the bottom, 18. Negative 1.57. And those are the 2 answers for X. There are always going to be decimals today. You got to. Okay, 2 answers. You're using the set boxes because you have an X not to the second. The greatest common factor, again, the reason why it's 1 is because you don't have a negative. You don't have X on everything. And 2, 7, and 3 in that computer is 1. Okay. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So minus to 7, you can't get it. Okay. So I need to use set up my quadratic formula. So A, B, and C. So A is 2. Don't put the X with it. B is negative 7. And C is negative 3. Remember, having a minus means it's a negative. Okay, so the opposite of B. So the opposite of B is negative 7. Well, I switch it to a positive 7 then. Okay. And then my B here, not opposite here. Okay, the only one you make opposite's right there. And then the B is negative 7. And 4 is always there. And then A is 2, because whenever I sing the song, 4 is there. C is negative 3. And then 2 times A, and A is 2. Well, 2 times 2 I know is 4, okay? So I figure out the square root. I double the parentheses at the beginning. I go second, 4 keys up. Double the parentheses. The reason why you need 2 parentheses right in a row is because the first parentheses tells me I want all this in a square root. And the second parentheses is just for my negative 7. So negative 7 I close. Well, that's why I just close one of them. 4 keys up is second power, and then a subtraction sign. Remember, the subtraction's here, okay? And then a 4, a 2, and a negative 3. Okay, I got 8.54. So I cross this big square root out, and that now is the number 8.54. So I got positive 7, the plus minus, 8.54, and 4. So I take positive 7, just 7 if it's positive, and then I add plus 8.54 equals and divide by 4. So 3.88 is the first answer. Okay, now in the second one, again, to get the plus out of there, and then I take positive 7 and subtract 8.54, it equals, then divide by 4. That's negative 0.38. Okay, the last problem. GCF's just 1. 2 times negative 15 is negative 30 minus to positive 3. You can't find it. So I use my quadratic formula, not the parentheses. So A equals B equals C equals. Now my A is positive 2. My B is positive 3. And my C is negative 15. Okay, so the opposite of B is positive 3. Or no, the opposite of B. Now, B is 3, so to make it opposite, you just put a negative in front. Remember, if it already has a negative front, then it turns plus. But if it doesn't have a negative, we put one there. That's the opposite of 3, negative 3. Okay, now B. B is just 3. Don't switch that one opposite. Just use what's over here. And then 4, and then A is going to be 2, and C is going to be negative 15. Okay, and then A is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. Now I got to figure out the square root. So I go second, punch your fourth key up, double the square root, and the first thing we have is 3. Close the parentheses with the 3, and then take it to the second power. Second power is very important. And then subtract a factor of 4, a factor of 2, and a factor of negative 15. And I got 11.35. Okay, so now I'm down to just these 3 numbers, negative 3 plus minus 11.35 and 4. So negative 3 plus 11.35 equals, divide by 4, 2.08. Okay. And then I take negative 3 minus 11.35, divide by 4, and that's negative 3.58. Okay, and you have 4 of them to do on your own. Okay, the biggest hang-up you guys are going to have is the opposite of the B. Dude, if B's positive, just put a negative in front of it right here. If B's negative, it's positive right there.